Hi everybody, Kathleen Fogarty here in Virginia Beach, and I am going to share with you my string puppets. I made some early ones in the semester, which ended up becoming part of my program, and while these were inventive and clever, they had some limitations in their ability to move. So I actually made another one in the last week or so to see if I could work a little bit more with the concept of strings. So let me introduce first of all Jack and Jill. So as you look at this, and it's hard to kind of capture it, Jack and Jill are made from plastic glassware that was given to me by people at the library. These were part of the all-staff training day in 2011, and when they had leftover pieces, they asked me if I would like some, and I said, sure, I'll make a puppet out of it. So this was the, I guess, champagne flute, or the wine glass, maybe martini, I'm sorry, it looks like a martini. And so I added some hair with tape. I added some stick-on eyes. I cut out some pieces of that foam material and glued it on. I added some feet for some shoes. And then for Jack, same kind of idea. He was a glass. And again, I added the googly eyes, which are really, really helpful, a unibrow, a bow tie, and again, some shoes. Now, I wanted to make it appear that these would not, you would not see the strings. So I used the fishing line with this, and the only way that I could imagine to work with it is to use just a single rod at the top, and to have them kind of swing and balance, because in the nursery rhyme, Jack and Jill are without water, and they're actually kind of wobbly. So I wanted to make sure that they looked that way, and even when I operated them, they couldn't really do very much. They can't really go back and forth, but they can go side to side. So as I was going to use it in my story time and in my puppet show, I had Jack and Jill. Come on. Jack is not in the shot. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. And I really wasn't quite happy with how this worked out. So even though they're very adorable, and even though they're very clever with some use of recycled materials, I wanted to examine a little further what puppets do. And I read a book last week to my children in story time, Jump Frog Jump by Robert Kalin and pictures by Byron Barton. And what I liked about this book for early childhood was the Jump Frog Jump theme came up over and over again, and the repetition of those three words, jump, frog, jump, came up after every several pages. It's a sort of a domino kind of a story, almost like this is the house that Jack built. And so I wanted to make a puppet that would just operate during that refrain. So there are lots of animals in this story, but it was the frog that I wanted to focus on. So I'll just show you a little bit of the story so you know what I'm talking about. This is the frog that was under the fly that climbed out of the water. So here's the frog right here. How did the frog catch the fly? Jump, frog, jump. And the letter of the week was F. So I wanted to be able to point to the difference between the words that began with J and the word that began with F. And so that was my focus. I'll go on a little bit with the story so you know. This is the fish that swam after the frog that was under the fly that climbed out of the water. How did the frog get away? And once again the answer, jump, frog, jump. So my goal was to create a puppet that would just focus on that phrase. So I went to the King's Daughters thrift store, and I found some of stuffed animals that were only 99 cents. And this one, this little frog, looked really perfect for me because he was small enough and he was limber enough. So instead of using just one rod, I used 2 rods. I also used a little screw-in eyelet for the hands, and I also used a firmer piece of cord string for the body, and then later on I added also some more string for the legs. So with this puppet, this is really one that I could probably develop a little bit more movement with. So how did the frog get out of the water? Jump, frog, jump! And as I learn some skills, I can probably go back and forth with his hands and feet. So my experience with string puppets has really been more about experimenting and figuring out what makes a string puppet work. I have great admiration for the marionettes at the Columbia Marionette Theater and all of the ones we've seen on the videos. And I do really like this little guy, and I think I'll probably be using him for a long time because he's actually made of some very stable materials. And even though I didn't build him, I turned him from a simple Beanie Baby frog into a marionette. Jump, frog, jump. Can you see him? Jump. See everybody another time. Hope everyone's having a great December.